Cheers, Meg. I'm so happy to be here. Aren't you?
I am.
This is so much fun. So why don't you tell me who you are?
So I am Meg Bickford. I'm the executive chef of Commander's Palace in New Orleans, Louisiana. And my darling friend here is Lally Brennan, one of the co-proprietors of Commander's.
Along with my cousin T. Martin.
Absolutely.
Who is a very special, unique person. And we're missing her not being here.
Absolutely, but we're so excited to be here at the Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. It's just been such a beautiful weekend so far.
Yeah. Meg, this is your first time in Aspen.
It is.
And you're having a ball.
I'm having a blast.
And you just did Charleston, right?
That's correct.
And so I'm so glad you're here and experiencing this because, well, first of all, Aspen is so magnificent. And then you meet so many wonderful people. And
It is.
you keep expanding, you know, your friendships in our industry, which you see, I'm a little older than you are, but you'll see over the years how you become really good friends with the people. Because like we know at Commander's, we spend probably more time with the people that we're working with
Absolutely.
than we do our own families.
Right.
You know, as you know, Meg has the most adorable almost 5-year-old Stella. And oh my goodness, she is like the mascot for Commander's Palace.
Yeah, she's Princess Commander's. It's pretty funny to watch her walking through the kitchen in the restaurant. So this wine, as you know, we were leaving to come to Aspen. I went into the cellar and told our wine guy, Dan Davis, that I really want to bring, you know, a nice bottle of wine to Aspen. And we were going to meet Jason and have a conversation over a bottle of wine. And I mean, immediately he goes, oh, I've got something for you. So this is a Clos Saint Magdalene. It's from the Cassace region in France. Dan himself has traveled to that region and just immediately fell in love with it. Just the beauty of the space and the vineyards and he shared a bunch of pictures with me, but unfortunately I haven't been able to go yet. But T. Martin, one of our co-proprietors, along with Lally, but T has been able to visit this region as well. And they just both felt madly in love with it. And the wine's just fantastic, and I'm butchering this, I'm sorry. The wine's just fantastic, and it goes great with seafood and really pairs well with our food at Commander's. And so we just thought it was a great bottle to converse over. Yeah.
To tell a little tale on my cousin T, you know, she says, you know, I've been to so many wineries, you know, that one winery kind of looks like the next. Sorry, all you vineyards out there. And so, but she said, so when she went to this one, she said, oh my goodness, it was so beautiful, so magnificent. Truly, she said she hadn't been anyplace quite as beautiful. And then she said it didn't hurt much that the husband and wife team were gorgeous and fun and young and had a good time. So, you know, at home in New Orleans, we serve lots and lots of seafood. You know, we have it in our backyard. It's like we don't even have to go to the grocery store. We just go to the bayou and the Gulf and get anything that we can get at, depending upon the situation between storms and seasons and,
yeah.
you know, things like that. So
Gulf Coast has definitely had its challenges over the last few
Hasn't it,
years,
though?
but
Yeah.
but we are, in my opinion, the luckiest people in the world. You know, the resources that we have and the beautiful food and landscape that Louisiana provides us. But and that's one of the things that's so great about Commander's Palace. You know, nestled in uptown New Orleans, it's a beautiful, quaint little Victorian home. Very much a neighborhood restaurant that just happens to invite guests from all over the world. And we're very fortunate for that. But Commander's has such an incredible history and such incredible roots in the city of New Orleans. And, you know, the proprietors before T and Lally, you know, Dottie Brennan and Ella Brennan, and the amazing things that they have done for the city, the amazing chefs that these women have grown. It's a movie in and of itself, which you can watch, commanding the table, but really, it's an incredible honor for me to have been able to work for these women, the generations of women that have commanded Commander's Palace. The expectation and the standard and the love and the care and the effort that goes into the day-to-day of caring and serving for our guests externally and internally, meaning our staff, is just something of incredible power. And I'm just incredibly honored to be a part of that.
Well, thank you, Meg. Believe me, we so are lucky and honored to have you. You know, It's lovely what you said. You know, my family has been in the restaurant business, and so Commanders is where we spend our time, and it's in the Garden District, like you said. It's in this Victorian home that we call a little Victorian cuckoo. And we have a patio, which I love. We have an open bar. We have a chef's table in the kitchen, which when you, like most chef's tables, you don't know what you're getting.
Yeah.
And y'all
Oh,
just...
a surprise.
And it's so much fun.
It's so
And I'm
fun.
always standing behind the line going, can I have a little taste? Because that's where I want to nibble, is
Yeah.
when you're doing that. And one of the things that I must say that I love about what we do so much is that so many generations have, because my family's been doing this, have come through the doors of Commanders to celebrate their special events. And so, you know, you have the couple that are just got engaged, and then you have the rehearsal dinner next, and then you have the celebration of the baby, and then you have the christening, and the next thing you know, that child is doing their 16th birthday party, and then next thing you know, graduation and the rehearsal dinner. The other night there was a rehearsal dinner in the patio room, and both of the couples of the bride and the groom had both had their rehearsal dinner at Commanders. So that is something that is so endearing and special, and it feels like it's very, it's a lot to carry. It's a big load.
Absolutely.
Because
it's a big responsibility.
It's a big responsibility. And I'm so honored, and I know T is too, to be able to follow in our parents' footsteps. But I sure miss them because, you know, we could always run over and toss ideas and whatever. But I think they did a good job. I really do. But that, you know, brings me such joy and satisfaction. And then also to bring that kind of joy and satisfaction to our employees, because I think they feel the same way. And I love it when it's their night off or day off and then they come in to have a meal.
Yeah, that they want to spend their time with us so much. Yeah.
Exactly. And it makes me so happy to see them. And I always say, I'm so glad you're sitting down and letting me. I think you feel the same way. We think that service is an honor.
Absolutely.
And so tonight we're going to serve you. And then tomorrow night, wherever we go, someone's going to have the opportunity to serve us.
Yeah.
So it is a true profession, and it's an honor. And I'm glad to be doing this for, I don't even call it a job. My Aunt Ella taught me that a long time ago. She said, once you find something that you love to do and you realize it's going to be your lifestyle, not really a job, then it just, that was, you know how sometimes words click? That was the word that clicked. What I do is not a job, it is my lifestyle. And I would think, I don't want to put words in your mouth.
No, it absolutely is, because part of it is so consuming. You know, I mean, I feel like what anyone does in this profession to truly be a carrier of hospitality is very selfless, right? Because it's an honor to serve. But it's like you have that need in your belly, you know? Like you have that, for you to be satisfied, you have to provide that service for people. And so it's awesome to get the opportunity to do that on an everyday basis. And like you said, it becomes a lifestyle. And whether you're in your own restaurant or somewhere else, whether we're here, you know what I mean? It's the little things like greeting people that you don't even know yet, but you're about to start this conversation and build a relationship with, or opening doors for people, or things like that. It's just this need to serve, this need to make an impression on people that I think is so powerful.
When the reservation office gets the phone call to the valet saying goodnight, thank you for coming. So it's the whole thing, and it's entertainment. You know, for us, it's what we do. But when people are making reservations and they're going out to dinner, it's like going to the theater. It's an event. And so they come into our hands, and then it's up to us.
Yeah.
And you're only as good as your customer's last meal, you know? And so I know we constantly are watching our systems and everything, because if someone does not have a lovely evening, we can't sleep at night. We wake up in the morning, I have a stomach ache. And we have this saying, the sun never sets on a customer complaint. And that's how important it is to us to make sure that, look, everybody's human, things are gonna happen. But the way you handle it after that is what is the most important thing. And you can make a customer for life.
Well, it's very true. And we take a lot of honor in the fact that Cajun and Creole cuisine, or the cuisine of South Louisiana or Louisiana, is the only true indigenous cuisine in America. To me, I mean, that's real, you know, and I believe that, and we live that. And to understand what that actually means is 100 books that have been written about it, and there's no one sentence, right? But it is such an incredible melting pot. And let's look at like just South Louisiana to start. The massive amounts of influences that have made our cuisine and made our culture so rich is this melting pot. And it's, the French and the Spanish and the Italian and the Native Americans that were here before any of those people were here. It's the German, it's the Irish, it's the Vietnamese, it's the African American, the Caribbeans, it's the Haitians, it's this melting pot of people. And it might not have happened all so beautifully and harmoniously in the beginning, but that's where we are now. That's where we were, 100 years ago. This open-mindedness to accept all of these things and allow them to really, truly influence each other and take from each other, it's just become this very, very unique thing. I mean, when you sit down at a table in South Louisiana to eat a meal, you know exactly where you are. And there's nowhere else in the country that you're gonna feel that, right? I could blindfold Lally and drop her anywhere in the country. She might not always know where she is, but if I drop her in the middle of New Orleans, she's gonna know exactly where she is with that blindfold on. And it's this depth of flavor, and it's this intentional creation of building flavors, and this, there's never a fear of seasoning, which I think sometimes gets a different perception from outsiders, right? That our food is salty and it's spicy and it's not. It's just we're not afraid of flavor. I mean, we want to blow your mind, and we don't want to leave you hurting. We don't want, your fingers to be so swollen you can't take your rings off, and we don't want that bite to be so hot that 5 bites later we've blown your palate. But we want to make you salivate, and we want to make you excited, and every bite of food needs to be this like, oh man, that 5 years from now you remember that bite of food and what that meant to you and who you were with and the music that you were listening to and the way the humidity made your hair and just all of it, because it is such an amazing experience, and it's such an amazing, special part of the world. And you don't have to be a chef to feel that way about the food, right? Because everybody feels that way about the food. Everybody feels that way about the music. Everybody feels that way about the art. It's just such a proud culture to be a part of, and such an expressive culture. And one thing that I find so exciting about it is that, it's this melting pot of all these different cultures and influences, but what Cajun and Creole cuisine became is still changing, because it's still being affected, and it's still evolving, and it's still accepting new cultures and new cuisines and new influences, because we do live in a small little city that's full of tons of different types of people, and we continue to embrace that. And so this thing that Cajun and Creole cuisine, I feel like, has a very perception of being very old, right? Like Cajuns are, the old crazy people that came from, don't put that, but the Acadians, the people that came from France and through Nova Scotia and settled in Acadia, and the Cajuns are crazy. I feel like I can say that, I'm Cajun, right? But it's this like old thing, like this old food and this smothered food and lots of butter, and it's also rich, and it's also heavy and all that. But it's not, because it keeps changing, it keeps evolving, and it's like we're not gonna let go of that stuff by any means, because that's our stuff. Mm-hmm. But we're allowing ourselves to change with time. I think the turtle soup is a great place to start. Here we are, as we run this restaurant, we are very honored by our past, right? And we want to celebrate our past, but we never want to be reined in by it, and we never feel reined in by it, right? So we have this kind of incredible freedom to do whatever we want, which is incredible, right? Because the umbrella of our cuisine, of Cajun and Creole cuisine, is so large, and it just keeps getting bigger. So the way that we can explore that is so exciting, because we can do whatever we want. But turtle soup at Commander's Palace is, how old is that recipe?
Well,
Not to put you on the spot.
Wait, 1893,
yeah.
And next year in 23, we're going to be 130 years old. So
Well,
there you go.
So our turtle soup recipe, it's the same turtle soup. I mean, we've been making the same turtle soup all this time. And learning that recipe was such an awesome thing. And then perfecting that recipe for me personally was such an incredible thing. I mean, I remember growing up the first time I ever had turtle soup, right? And now I get to work at this restaurant where I'm responsible for making sure that the turtle soup tastes the same tomorrow as it did 130 years ago. That's a big deal. It's a big responsibility. But so it's taking these very traditional things and being so proud of them. And then getting to be more playful with traditional things. Like one of the things on the menu right now, the tasso smoked cauliflower.
Oh, that is so good.
So tasso in New Orleans, I mean, it's a classic, heavily seasoned smoked pork product that we use to season other things. Well, we're doing that same manipulation, but to cauliflower. So it's a vegetarian dish, but we're brining it in heavy seasoning, and then we're dusting it in paprika and cayenne, and we're cold smoking it, and then we dredge it in a cornmeal dust, and then we flash fry it, and it's like, you bite into this cauliflower, and it's like, bam, what am I eating? You know what I mean? You think it's gonna be fried cauliflower, but it's so intense and it's so complex with like whipped garlic, Creole cream cheese. You take Creole cream cheese that, you know, almost disappeared.
Which you make.
Right, exactly. It almost disappeared. It's, you know, old, excuse me, not old, but people used to make Creole cream cheese in their homes. You know what I mean? And it was, everybody made it. It was the cheese that you had at home.
Breakfast with your fruit in the morning.
Exactly. And then it kind of disappeared. I mean, you know, as generations moved on and this legend of Creole cream cheese, it's kind of nobody was doing it anymore and nobody talked about it anymore and you couldn't find it anywhere. And it's like, well, why aren't we making this? You know, and Ella Brennan was like, well, that's one of my favorite things and nobody does it anymore. Well, we're gonna do it. And we're gonna make Creole cream cheese ice cream. We're gonna make Creole cream cheese cheesecake. And we're gonna bring this thing back. And so now it's all over our menu. I mean, when we make Creole cream cheese, we take the whey that's strained off of the cheese and we pour that into our grits to make our grits. I mean, it's like, we refuse to let it go. And it's so old and it's so traditional, but it's like, absolutely not. I mean, you can do so many different things with it.
You know, I think the Commander's menu has like 4 classic dishes that we've done forever for our customers that come on a very regular basis, our locals. You know, the ones who never really order what's on the menu. They say, I want this, Meg.
Yeah.
Or I know when they want a cocktail to make it like this big instead of that big, you know. And so we have like the turtle soup. We have the pecan crusted fish. We have the bread pudding souffle. But then the rest of the items on the menu are these new creations that y'all have taken the original Creole Cajun products with and brought them up into this year. Sure. And I can't wait for us to get the chef's tasting menu back on the menu because that's what we call the chef's playground. And that's where y'all can really have fun and play. You know, because everybody needs to have an outlet for their creative juices.
Absolutely.
And when somebody's making the same thing every night in the restaurant, and the quality has to be there, the taste has to be there, but it's really fun when they can say, well, I'm gonna make this and let's try this. And a lot of times things get on the menu.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of like our sounding board, you know, which is like, that's what the chef's table is for me. I mean, you come in and dine at the chef's table, and I'm gonna feed you, you know, me or one of my chefs is gonna feed you, you know, up like 9, 10 courses of food, and majority of that stuff is stuff that like we've been thinking about, right? And it's like we get to play, and it's like you feed it to them, and you're like, like what's the deal? And I mean, of course, we're very fortunate that usually people love everything, but it's kind of our opportunity to perfect and play with flavors and decide, like, I don't know, can I roast this cheese and put caviar on it? And is that too weird, you know? Or is that gonna be like the next tasting menu, you know? But so it's a lot of fun to be able to use that sounding board, and the tasting menu is very much that. But,
and I'm always trying to influence the customer to order something different. And I always say, well, you know, if you're not happy with that, we have a big old kitchen back there, and we'll be happy to get you something else, because it's all about you being happy. But you don't want people to gravitate. And I think one of the things of being an established restaurant, as long as we have, is fighting the age issue and people thinking we're old. And I don't think there's one thing old about Commander's Palace except the building, and it's so unique. Nobody would ever think the building was old. You know what I mean? Kind of a thing. And so just think it's important. And we do lots of things. We do 25-cent martinis at lunchtime. All right, did our customer base change or what?
Yeah.
We started getting all the graduate students, all the 20-somethings, whatever, and
Yeah.
then the older people too.
Yeah.
You know, so we're constantly trying to evolve ourselves in the food world, in the hospitality world, and in the fun world. We're all about Commanders being very serious, but not taking ourselves too seriously. We're very serious about the food, the service, the hospitality, but we want everybody to come. It's like a big giant bistro.
Yeah.
We do
Just
second
want you to have
lines.
fun.
We have balloons
Yeah.
on Saturday and Sunday. And you should see people are like, and I'm always going, come on, get up
Yeah,
in the second line.
get
You don't
up.
have food. And sure enough, they do, and then we can't get them to sit down.
Right.
You know, so it's seriousness in a very fun way, if that makes any sense.
Of course it does. And I think it's, you know, we provide a lot of opportunities for people to
Yeah,
have a
well,
great
yes.
time. You know what I mean? And Commanders has produced some incredible people, but especially chefs. I mean, to me, the clash of Cajun and Creole cuisine happened in the kitchen at Commanders, and that was Paul Prudhomme and Ella Brennan. And Paul Prudhomme came to Ella, and he was a Cajun cook, you know, and that's what he was. And if you're listening to this and you don't know Paul Prudhomme's legacy, then please look him up and do your homework, because he just became this incredible culture bearer of Cajun cuisine. And he and Ella together refined a lot of what Cajun and Creole cuisine is. And then, you know, this young kid, Emeril Lagasse, came in, and everybody saw what happened there. And Emeril really grew into not just the chef, but the restaurateur, the personality, the person that he is today in that kitchen. And the amazing Jamie Shannon, who unfortunately, life ended way too short, but incredibly talented chef. After Jamie Shannon, there was Tori McPhail, who I studied under for 12 years before I took over from him. Tori is on a pedestal to me. I mean, just this incredible, vast knowledge that these chefs have learned under that roof and have pushed that restaurant forward, and the evolution of that restaurant over the last many years has been attributed to this team, the owners, but the chefs that have carried this torch. To be a part of that short list is, I kind of stand on the shoulders of giants, in my opinion, and I have incredibly huge shoes to fill, and it's a great responsibility, but it's an incredible honor. But it is an incredible amount of pressure. And it's not just to make people proud, and it's not just to make those chefs proud, but it's also to continue the evolution that started so long ago, and to continue that restaurant moving forward, because those gentlemen did amazing things for the city of New Orleans, and I have every intention of carrying that.
Give me a hug. I love you.